All right, howdy folks, welcome back. So here we are at April 14th of 2022, and the loop's playing here. It's missing a lot of data, but there is a few little things I want to point out in this one. I'll let it play for a second so you guys can take a peek for yourself before I start pointing stuff out. Okay, so let's pause it right here and back up just a few frames. Alright, so here's our opening frame at 024, and we have what appears to be an object right here. Our instrument is reacting to it. We have a nice round shape and a little V-shaped bow shock on the back of it, and it moves out of frame as this begins. And then we have another CME happen right here, and then what appears to be another object up here. And that was about it. And we have the beginning of another CME over here, and I'll show you the rest of the data on that from another instrument. So I just wanted to point out these first two objects, this one and the one coming out up here, first off while we're here at this frame. So we'll let that run real quick and I'll let you see the first object, and then it appears there's something up here that comes out too. Okay, so now we're going to go over to stereo A of this event. Whoops, where did I have it? Right here. I got it frozen right here for you. And what we're going to do, let's put this over just a tad bit more. Okay, let's back up a little bit to the beginning of this event. Okay, so here's the beginning. It's coming out from behind the occulter. You can see our instrument reacting to it. Whoops, next frame. All right, there we go. We have these things shooting in there. Probably a reflection inside the camera, some people theorize, but here's this in there. There appears to be some little object back up in here. I don't know if these are reflections, but here's our CME coming out over here on this side. And then as it proceeds to come out, it gets this bow shock, this weird shaped filament rope type structure that we saw last time on the video I did yesterday. So let's get it to a good frame right there. And now I'm going to pull it over and zoom in here. And back up just a little bit. There we go. Now I'm talking about this white, like staple shaped type structure, and it's a filament rope like from last time. Let me scoot over here and get those wavy lines out of there. You can make out this filament rope that's going across. Now, just like the last one, it had an object on one side. Here's our round object at this corner. There's another round object right here, and the filament rope is stretching across between these two objects. It's wrapped around the outside corner of this one and wrapping around the outside corner of this one and going back. Now, in the middle of this plasma tail is another object sitting in this streak right here. So we have 1, 2, 3 objects. There looks to be a fourth up here. And over on this side here, here's our front object. Here's our secondary object. Here's the filament rope going across the two and reaching back. Here's another object up here that this filament rope is smashing into it and going over it. And let's see if we can move this back a few frames and then make it move forward so you can see as these erupt and come out, we have our spherical shapes here, here, here. There looks to be about 5 of them in a clump here. Now the ones that we saw yesterday kind of scattered once they hit the magnetic field of the sun. And they scattered more like a rack of pool balls being hit with a cue ball. So let's find this next frame I'm looking for. there's a bunch of these objects all clumped together. And in some of the trailing images, let's back up here. Let's zoom in on this real quick here. Because you can make out our one down here. There appears to be one back in here. There's just all these round spheroids all kind of clumped together. There's one right here. It's the main one on this corner. There's one right here that's causing the corner effect right here. And it's a staple type shape that we saw from yesterday. And let's see. Let's go back to yesterday. Here's yesterday's. Let me pull it over. And here you can see, this is yesterday's. Here's a round object right here. There's one up in this corner, and it's got this filament rope that it's pulled off of the sun, going streaking across it, and bending and going back. Now this is yesterday's. This is not the same one, but this is the same effect that we're getting. It's stretching out across two objects, wrapping around the corners of each one on the ends and pointing back towards the sun. So that's yesterday's image right there. And then here's today's image right there. Let's back it up a frame. Right here. And here we have that same filament rope going across here. It's not as defined as the last one, but on this side you can see it a little bit better. And then as it bends the corner and streaks back towards the sun, here's another object caught in its stream right there. So we got one right here, 2, 3, 4, and there's possibly something back in here, 5. So it looks like a cluster or a clump of 5 or so of these objects all stuck together as they move out past the sun. And every time we get a new effect, every time these things come off, it creates some kind of new visual effect. And here we have this rope, this filament type plasma rope going across the front of it, just like we had the day before when these objects interacted with the sun in the same location, very similar to the same shape and everything as the last one. So there's some crazy activity going on our sun. That's today's, and then this was yesterday's. So now let's back out of this here, and let's go back over to this one now, and pull it up. We're gonna run this back a little bit. Try and get some brightness in there. Okay, so this is today's from Soho. That's the last of the 13th. Then, as we get into the 14th, here we are at the 14th. As we progress through this, you'll see we have our little tiny CME over here on the side. But then here comes this big blast on the side, and then it skips. So it goes from this frame at 10:20. And the next frame is 2 hours later, 2 hours and 20 minutes later. So most of the event was missed. But let's go back to this image because I want to blow this up. And I want you to see that inside this CME, as it's starting to come out, you can make out this round object right here. Pull this back so we can get those wavy lines. There we go. So hopefully you guys can see that we have another CME coming out right here with our object right in there, and then it skips a couple hours, and by then it's already probably down here or out of the frame, and here's some plasma still trailing behind it. Okay, and then after that, slight little one up top here, but then we have another CME coming off the side of the sun over here, and this is going into April 15th now, UTC time. And here we have our magnetic field and what appears to be another object coming out from behind the occulter here. So here's our little object, and here's our CME that it's producing right here. So we're getting multiple objects day in and day out now. Before it was every once in a while we'd see, more than one object, but I believe that we're having multiple objects and in clusters and in clumps, ones that scatter and ones that stay together, and they make these weird horseshoe type, staple type shaped CMEs, like on this one right here. This is a really good um, example of what I'm talking about. How this filament rope is being pulled off, and then it bends, it turns the corner 90 degrees and goes across, goes around the face of this one and turns 90 degrees and starts pointing back. Just like this one is doing right here. The same shape. Boom, boom, boom. And this time we got an object caught in a little plasma arm reaching back. Let's one more time. We'll zoom in on this so you can see what I'm talking about. We have a round object here, one there. There's something here in the middle, and there's a secondary object right back here. When we pull it over to the red side, you'll see it all lines up with the ones we had just pointed out. One here, the one in the corner. Here's our filament rope going across, wrapping around, pointing back, going across, wrapping around and pointing back. There's an object here in the center. You can see the secondary one up in here. So we have a clump of objects here that just caused another huge CME on the side of the sun. And this has just been progressing every day, getting more and more intense. Every once in a while, I might skip a day, but then it's right back to multiple objects, each time now. So the intensity's picking up, and the severity of them's picking up too. So thankfully, we haven't seen too much earthquake activity as the result of these. So I'm thankful for that. But it is causing some wild weather and some other effects across the planet and stuff. So that's why I bring this stuff to you guys, so you'll know and have a heads up as to when to kind of get ready and brace for more activity. So these aren't earth facing, thankfully. Neither one of these were earth facing, but I think we had one that was on the 11th that hit today that was an earth facing one. So, and they're telecommunications didn't go down or anything like that, so we're not too worried about these things taking out the power or anything like that, but they are affecting our weather and our planet and people too. So just wanted to bring that to you real quick, and we'll leave you with this last image right here. Now, maybe this red side looks better, I think. You can actually kind of see the circular objects in there. And you can even see how the plasma is reaching back to the center one still here. And it's too bad seeds didn't capture it all. They got really brief little clips, but we were able to capture a couple little objects captured in that too. So just wanted to bring that to you guys. I miss you all. I love you all. And God bless you all. And until my next video, bye.